Earlier on the cable channel, we brought you a panel discussion with journalists who cover the media for the New York Times, USA Today, and Forbes. For more from the panel, let's now rejoin our moderator, Bob Gold, in Times Square with part 2 of Press Play.
There were a number of programmers, independent networks, who have said to operators, take my service for free. I'll make it up on advertising, whether it's VOD or linear. And I'm expecting to see at least half a dozen networks fold in 2009. Where do you see this future of this resetting of values and opportunities for independent programmers?
I've talked to a number of media buyers and network chiefs this week and ad sales chiefs this week, and they were all saying the same thing, which is that the strongest brands are going to survive, and some of these niche brands that are smaller, that don't have the reach or the quality or a signature program, are really going to struggle this year more than in other years.
You probably see some more rebranding. You know, certainly what a Disney did with XD, the Oprah Winfrey Network. These are cases of that where you do have to stand out to survive. But in terms of on the acquisition front, right now it's not content that's king; it's cash that's king, and few have it. So I think, perhaps a Discovery, perhaps a Time Warner have the ability to make acquisitions, but it's a tough climate.
Well, coming back to your point, Lacey, about cash being king. Well, we have another new venture. And it's the third time around for the cable operators to partner with Sprint on something new, and that now is WiMAX. Is this a good time to be investing in a build-out of something like WiMAX, and what's that future?
It certainly sounded like a very good idea, and it's really lost steam, and I think a huge piece of that is a lack of funding. And I think right now, to try and find capital out there is really challenging. It may be a beneficiary of the new stimulus plan for broadband and really moving that and deploying that in rural areas. But will that be enough is the question. And how is that money going, and how quickly is it going to come to pass? There are a lot of question marks there.
It's a great idea, but we don't know a lot about how they're doing internally. They just changed their CEO.
Right.
What does that tell us? It looks like investors are getting very nervous.
New technologies that we're keeping our eye on. The industry is clearly always innovating, always changing. What are you looking at that's going to be some game changers in technology front?
I'm very curious about Cablevision's remote DVR, whether they move forward with that and how that's perceived by customers. I'm also curious about their latest efforts with addressable advertising. I'm talking about expanding to 500,000 homes later this year, and whether we see that that ball really starts to roll or not.
It's not a new technology, but Cox has said that it's going to roll out a cell phone service, and we'll see whether they run into the buzzsaw of the economy or whether they can actually become a meaningful competitor.
Quad play has not been played out yet. Verizon still offers triple play. They haven't brought out the secret sauce of saying get our cell phone too in the quad play. So if Cox beats them to the game, it'll be interesting, yes.
I think mobile video is a really interesting space right now. I think there's been a lot of buzz about it being part of our future. It'll be interesting to see if there is an appetite for it here. We've certainly seen it as a very popular thing, both in Japan and South Korea. You see people watching their cell phones, watching TV on their cell phones as they ride the subway. That's not yet a reality here. Will it ever be? We'll see. I think the economic model certainly has to change. Right now, it's expensive, and it's not there yet. Will it be? We'll see.
We're talking about changing. We're resetting our values. Industries are changing, and folks are getting older. Tell me, what does the future landscape looks like when Sumner Redstone, Rupert Murdoch, when Malone, when these guys retire? They got to retire someday, right? What do their companies look like?
Probably a little bit less exciting, because these guys were entrepreneurs, and as entrepreneurs they were pretty exciting. They could speak their minds, often very vigorously, and the new generation seems to be people who rose through the ranks and learned how to keep their nose down, their chins clean. But with any luck, there'll be a new generation of entrepreneurs who will grab our attention.
We've really seen a huge shift in the landscape. I mean, TV's a commodity business, and for 50 some odd years, the demand far outweighed the supply. And you did have leaders like Malone and like Murdoch that had a huge amount of power. I think with all the web options, with perhaps the mobile options, there are a lot of choices. And all of a sudden, the consumer, the viewer, has a tremendous amount of power. So I don't know that you'll necessarily see these leaders with that much power. That said, said, there do have to be leaders, and there does have to be vision with that. I think you'll probably see a lot of the tech side guys, the Larry Page and Sergey Brin type characters with that kind of vision.
So it's time for dinner. Who in the industry, if it's my dinner with, not Andre, but who would you like to have dinner with and why?
I would go with the Hulu executive team. Whatever cable does with on-demand content online, I think what has happened with Hulu will be a roadmap. And I think where Hulu goes from here is a very interesting question. So I'd be fascinated to talk to them more about where they see this online, on-demand arena going.
I'd like to join in on Brian's dinner. Yeah, I think that certainly it'll be interesting both from a content perspective, what other content will come onto Hulu, but also from an advertising perspective. How are they going to make these ads more palatable for the viewers and also more effective for the marketers? I think David Zaslav is another one that I would love to take out. Apparently, I'm hungry and have a lot of money on hand.
I'll join you for that one.
Perfect. I think to see to talk to him about the success that they've had at Discovery, some of the rebranding that's gone on, but also what is the Oprah Winfrey Network going to look like? What will that be like in the coming marketplace? And how do you do that? How do you sell that? And how do you make that a real destination for viewers?
Your customers want to make a personal and individual connection to entertainment and information, family and friends, on any screen, anywhere, anytime. And service providers are ready to deliver this connected life, led by visual networking and built on a solid Cisco IP next-generation network foundation. It's all happening right here, right now, on the Human Network, the connected life. Your life. Connect now.
Network Originals. Mornings with Lori and Larry.
Ooh, yes, it's true. Thank you.
Every day with Marcus and Lisa.
I never get tired of hearing that song and watching you.
Judy Bird's Kitchen.
Now, for the finishing touch, put on your strawberries.
Wretched with Todd Friel.
Oh, that's you!
It's new, it's fun, it's Family Net.
Reed Television Group, the leader for news and information on the television industry. Multi-channel news, the weekly book of record for cable operators, networks, and suppliers, featuring in-depth analysis and content. Broadcasting and Cable, the industry's most comprehensive source on the business of television. Multi-channel Newswire, the daily email service for cable professionals. B&C Today, the daily email all about the business of television. Reed Television Group, the authoritative news source.